having folks join. Welcome, everyone, to today's UERU Town Hall, where we're going to talk about the University of Tennessee Knoxville's College of Emerging and Collaborative Studies, which is a highly innovative new organizational form. I would call it a first of its kind, revolutionizing higher education and a way to meet students where they're at today and to look ahead to the future in incredibly, again, bold and creative ways. And we'll be talking about not just students, how they benefit, but also how faculty and the university as such benefits from this development. So my name's Stephen Dandino, and I am privileged to serve as the executive director of the Association for Undergraduate Education at Research Universities, abbreviated UERU. We are hosted at Colorado State University, as we have been since 2013. And so we wish to acknowledge our host institution. Again, welcome, folks. We're just going to take a minute before we jump right into this recorded town hall, 1 hour long. For those of you who are experienced with them, you know that we will look to transition to questions, engagement with our panel about 3/4 of the way through our hour. We'll see how it goes. We invite you to use the chat to post questions or just have conversation and dialogue. But be thinking of questions as you hear about the College of Emerging and Collaborative Studies, otherwise abbreviated CECS, at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Hey, let me show you what I got here right here. This is I don't know if you can see that, but that is a 21st century Smoky, the mascot of UT Knoxville. And somehow I found this on my desk. I'm not sure how it got here, but it's a pretty nifty symbol of a very old university. You know, a lot of people don't realize how long ago UT Knoxville was founded. A very long-standing university with great traditions that's engaged in very much 21st century innovation and development. And this new symbol, this new Smoky, kind of represents that connection with the past and looking to the future as well. And I'm proud to wear it today. Normally I don't wear UT stuff, but today it seems appropriate to do so. Again, welcome, folks. I think it's time probably to kind of get into the substance of the thing. Again, what are we talking about? We're doing a deep dive in one of our nation's major research universities, pretty recent innovations where they've created a new college, the College of Emerging and Collaborative Studies, which has an unusual character to it. We're going to hear about that history and the purposes behind it, and a little bit about, you know, how it's going so far, so that our colleagues around the country can better understand kind of behind the scenes of what it's all about and what's happening, so that we might emulate it, perhaps. I don't think the folks at UT Knoxville would mind our learning from their example and emulating their good work in ways that make sense for our respective institutions, naturally. And so I'm really pleased that we're joined today by UT Knoxville Provost John Zomchick, by UT Knoxville Vice Chancellor for Research, Innovation and Economic Development, Deborah Crawford, and by Ozlem Kilic, who is the founding dean, vice provost, and founding dean of the college. And many of you will know Ozlem from her past service some years ago as the undergraduate vice provost representative to UERU. So Ozlem, it's great to see you again. Would perhaps our panel, beginning with you, provide our audience with a general overview of the college from your point of view?
Thank you, Steve. Thank you for the very warm welcome for our UT folks here. So the college started with the question, actually our chancellor posed to the entire campus, are we ready for the 21st century? And there was a whole committee that our provost and vice chancellor can discuss later on in depth. How are we structured? Are the structures adequate? And one of the ideas at the time was that we are not actually equipped to do sustainable transdisciplinary programs, especially as the emerging technology is driving the future workforce. And these tend to actually collide the conventional disciplines to create new careers that we are naming as we speak, or we may not even have names for, and therefore our current structures are not sufficient to train the future workforce on that transdisciplinary realm. So we gathered our thoughts together, we brainstormed with the campus, and we came up with a structure that is an overlay of the existing structure. So it's not completely uprooting what the higher ed has been so successfully doing, which is in-depth concentrations into disciplines. But so CECS is launched to offer a hub, a connectivity for the entire campus, so we can come together. Campus has tons of expertise on whatever topic is emerging, but important thing is to bring all the minds together. Things like AI will touch everything from just not efficiency or technology, but ethics and philosophy and economy. So our objective is actually enable a structure where all colleagues can come together and think these future degrees together and launch these together for the students who will come from all these disciplines without challenges with access to these technical skills. And so it was a hub, intentional hub, to enable a sustainable development of transdisciplinary upcoming curriculum that prepare our students for the upcoming workforce.
I'll just look from the provost's point of view, John.
Thanks, Steve. I've got to give enormous credit to Dean Kilic here for all the work that she's done to stand up this new college. It's just ending, or we're approaching the end of its third year here on campus, and it has caught on and it's grown a lot. I think one of the things that really appeals to me about the college is that it's also provides something of a sandbox to our innovative faculty who have ideas about things that are emerging in their disciplines that touch on many other different disciplines, and think about ways in which they can forge those, create those, either into certificates or into new majors. And so the College of Emerging and Collaborative Studies, as Ozlem said, serves as a hub, and it's also a kind of magnet. I mean, it draws innovative and creative faculty who have curricular interests to think about, okay, what do today's students need in order to have thriving and fulfilling careers? And really, when I think about workforce, I think about I really do think about careers, about satisfying approaches to contributing to local, regional, state, national economies that provide both personal satisfaction and provide support for growing communities around us. I guess the only other thing I would say about that is that from the outset, we wanted this college to move more quickly than our conventional or traditional colleges do. And under Ozlem's leadership, Ozlem's a little bit like, you all remember the Roadrunner cartoons, that the Roadrunner is a blur much of the time. And that is often how I see Ozlem, racing from new idea to new idea. It's been really bracing and really exciting for the campus.
Beep, beep. So how does the Vice Chancellor see this? Deborah?
So I was really excited when the College of Emerging and Collaborative Studies was born, because I see the college as a fabulous complement to the work that we do in a research office as we think about our strategic research initiatives. Oftentimes, a research office is bringing together faculty from across disciplines to work on problems that they couldn't solve by themselves. What Ozlem has created here, and what the faculty who have joined Ozlem in this college have done, is sort of do the equivalent, right? I think John just referred to a sandbox, right? It allows for academic innovation across disciplines, and it allows for those who really are committed to academic innovation to meet with similar colleagues, similarly minded colleagues, to do work that actually is pretty hard to do within the more traditional constructs, organizational constructs that we have in universities. So it becomes sort of a march of the willing. Those who really want to explore the frontier of academic innovation, they have a place to join together and think about what the programs of the future might look like. So I see CECS as a fabulous complement to the discovery work that our faculty do across the university.
Sounds like a fun place to work. So, so we have some prepared questions. The audience will not be shocked. And I'm going to pose them now, beginning with the highest priority ones. We'll go through them and see how far we get. Now, we all know many universities are talking about interdisciplinary education and workforce alignment and the like, right? So it's a really hot topic for colleges and universities, but few have created a whole academic structure like UT Knoxville has. So what are the institutional challenges and the opportunities associated with doing exactly that, creating CECS? What are the challenges, maybe first, and then what are the opportunities we're trying to seize here?
Let me start with the challenges. It was easy to create. You simply say, we're going to create it and get board approval. And voila, there it was. But a slightly less silly note. I mean, the challenges are, I think Ded said something really important, and that is that I would guess that most of us on this call were trained in traditional disciplines, and the inclination is to sort of turn inward, to look inward within your discipline. We do that oftentimes. I'm a humanist. I was trained as a humanist. And so we do that in terms of professional recognition and also professional rewards. But as Deb also said, that is changing now, and that there is a different force at work. And I always get centripetal and centrifugal mixed up because I'm not a scientist, but whatever the right one is, to move people out of those traditional disciplines, I think is taking hold. But getting back to your question, Steve, about challenges. One of the challenges that I have is to oversee the budget of the colleges, of the various colleges. Here at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, we are on a responsibility center management budget where monies are, university revenue is allocated out to the college based on formulas that have to do, there are a whole bunch of different formulas, but, to simplify, a lot of the revenue is allocated based on student credit hour delivery and where universities' majors are. And so new colleges present the challenge of helping established colleges see the new college not as a competitor, not as a threat, but rather really as a partner to actually increase their reach, broaden maybe is a better word than increase, broaden their reach to get people who they might not have touched before. Let me give you a specific example, see if I can make this a bit more concrete. I said I was a humanist. My discipline is English. Here at the University of Tennessee and nationwide, what you'll find in the humanities is there's been a decline in the number of students, 17, 18-year-olds, who have decided to major in the humanities. This may not be universal for all of our audience, but I think it's pretty widespread. And so what CECS does is offer the traditional disciplines that may have lost a little bit of, shall we say, luster? I don't know if that's the right word, or appeal anyway, in the current environment, in the current economic environment. Offer them an opportunity to think about ways of partnering with CECS. And Ozlem can say more about that in a moment, how the different colleges partner with CECS in order to do two things. One, as I said, broaden their reach. As a humanist, I want as many students as possible to be exposed to the richness that the humanities have to offer. But that doesn't mean that I only want people who want to major in a humanities discipline. So there's that. And on the other hand, I want the people who are interested in the humanities to have, I'm going to say it, marketable skills, skills that they can present to that first interviewer that they encounter either before they leave our campus or after they leave our campus. And so I think that there's a really fantastic opportunity here for our students to have another another tool in their tool chest. One last thing, I was talking to one of our faculty members from our Natalie L. Haslam College of Music, which was also created at the same time as CECS. And she had a really wonderful observation on a new direction that they are pursuing. They want to have their faculty have portfolio careers. And by that, they mean to have a number of different things that they can do, not only say to be, she happened to be a French horn player, not only to play the French horn, but also to be able to do other things along the way, whether it be communication or business or applied artificial intelligence. So I think that for me, the challenge is to say to the deans, hey, don't be so protective or resistant to this new college because you see it as a potential thief of your credit hours, but think about the ways you can collaborate with the college in order to increase your reach.
Hugely important point, and I'm sure we'll get some questions on that, later. As I recall, you created 3 new colleges at the same time. Is that not the case?
That is correct.
Which is very ambitious. I just want to underscore that. If UT Knoxville is doing that kind of thing, hey folks, it can be done. It's great. You should think about it. Vice Chancellor Deb, do you want to add anything on this question of challenges, opportunities?
I think the challenge and the opportunity is disruptive innovation is hard, right? So nobody wants to be disrupted, but in fact, it's our jobs in the university community to constantly be thinking about how the frontier of knowledge is changing and to adapt to meet that change. And I think that's both a challenge because it's hard to do, right? I think the sort of observation about the budget structure, sometimes universities become beholden to their budget structure rather than seeing their budget structure as simply a tool to help them realize their strategic objectives and to stay focused on those objectives, right? Sometimes I think the model we don't necessarily think about it flexibly enough to allow us to do the types of things that, quite frankly, it's our mission to do, which is to support innovation constantly. And so I think a lot of the challenge is actually sort of in the resistance of people who worry about losing something, right? I think John mentioned the sort of concept of credit hours being stolen from a college. I don't think that's the right way to think about it. And I think John's point, I hope that our deans, and many of our deans do, see CECS as an opportunity for them to innovate at the frontier and to embrace the innovations that really work. And I don't think everything that CECS does is going to work, right? We have to allow some things to fail if they don't quite hit the mark. So, I think that's very similar to how we think about discovery in a university too.
Thank you for that. And Ozlem, from the dean's point of view, I think it's okay to just dwell on this a little bit because this is very important information for everyone, right? And even in the chat, I don't know if you saw, someone has raised the question about faculty appointments for the college, which bears on everything we're talking about right now. So you may have had something to say before I raised that point, but might you also address that as part of your response?
Sure, Steve. Yeah, I mean, as John said, it was fun to launch it. That's great. We got approval. The board applauded. It was a good idea. And then, of course, the realities of how to implement it. But it's been a fabulous journey. I have to first say that. And it continues to be so. It's really making an impact for the future generations, rewarding careers. Yes, challenges have been. CECS was kind of an overlay on the silos that have been working so well. So all the processes on campus, from hiring to tenure and promotion, rely heavily on that hierarchy, siloed hierarchy. So anything we wanted to do was an exception. So CECS felt like pushing the boundaries in hiring, in launching degree programs, because it didn't fit any of the structure. CECS had to be at odds, and I don't want to say at odds, CECS had to challenge the conventional processes. And I think we have come a long way, and there's a long way to go. But our early success was very important to show the rest of the campus, just 200 faculty being engaged from 79 departments, enrollment doubling in 1 year. These are important. And when we have recruitment events, students are like, wait, I can do philosophy and applied AI. That means we are going to get that student because they may not be able to do it elsewhere, right? So giving the students the opportunity has been an advantage. But challenges, of course, will continue. I think I see CECS as a magnifying glass to the processes that were really heavily perfected for silos. And as we move to each level of CECS, we tend to run into some rumblings, and then we figure things out and we move on to the next one. So there are more things to be ironed. For instance, we wanted to launch stackable certificates and admit people just for certificates, where our university wasn't accustomed to tracking such things, right? So here's another new thing. So CECS kind of has pushed our system to think out of the box in terms of our processes as well.
How about that faculty appointment question, though? Could you maybe, would it be all right to just insert that right now?
Sure. So intentionally, since we wanted this to be a hub and we wanted this to be agile, we didn't want CECS to have its own faculty, because then it would be another silo. If I hire faculty on applied AI, I have created yet another silo. So I have been very intentional about it. Of course, this means there's plenty of experts on campus. So, and like Deb mentioned, the ones who are willing really flocked, and we've been working with those faculty. We relied on a buyout model. So we pay the faculty salaries to come to CECS to work with us, to teach or to develop programs with us, and then they can go back. So it's been a mixed blessing. It gives us the entire campus to be our playground, and great minds from every discipline and coming thinking applied AI has been phenomenal. But now I'm realizing as CECS is growing, enrollment is growing, how do I sustain that? There should be a longer term relation between the CECS and those faculty. So I think it's an evolving process, but I really am truly happy about the fact that we want to rely on campus expertise so we don't become another silo.
One of the things, if I can jump in here for a moment, Steve, one of the things that Ozlem has been talking to me about, she's being a little bit modest here, is to, and this comes under the heading of evolution. We are a sort of figuring things out as we go along. I think that in the future there's opportunity presently. In the future, we want to look at joint appointments between CECS and other colleges. I think, again, that holds enormous benefit for the kind of disruption that Deb has been talking about. I mean, we do that from time to time now, but Deb, I think it's right to say that a lot of those joint appointments are made joint for the purposes of discovery and of research. Because of the evolving nature of research itself. I think as we see the sort of dissemination of knowledge evolve as well, especially with the disruptions that are rippling through just about every aspect of our lives at this point, that it behooves us to do the same thing, so that we don't find ourselves in 19th century organizational structures, trying to sort of find our way through 21st century knowledge economies. I think it's really important.
Deb, do you want to add anything to that, please?
Oh, I completely agree with John. That is, I think, exactly the way we think about it. You know, I see CECS also as a vehicle for our academic units to use. So we talked about the March of the Willing. It was more like, I think in the beginning, a stampede of the willing. I think that there's also an opportunity for our deans and our department heads working across colleges to say, hey, we want to explore the creation of this new academic program. And it's easier to do that by giving it to CECS and by identifying faculty who will be part of the process. CECS incubates the program and then gives it right back to the units who actually birthed the concept. Right. So it becomes a very agile organization. And as Ozlem pointed out, it sort of avoids this sort of stovepiping within CECS. So CECS becomes too big and unwieldy. And it encourages innovation across every one of our more traditional academic units.
Seems like a lot of organizational theory at work here in creating this. We would be missing an opportunity if we didn't get behind the scenes a little bit with all you folks. So I can start by noting for everyone's benefit that in Vice Chancellor Crawford's background, that's the women's soccer stadium at UT Knoxville. but apart from that, who had the first idea for CECS? Where did this vision originate from? And I know we joked a little bit about it getting improved, but someone had to have a vision here for I'd say a rather ambitious vision for how a university ought to meet the moment. Who's responsible? Is this Ozlem? Who did this?
It's all Ozlem.
It's all
I think so.
It's mostly Ozlem. Let me. So 4 years ago, we went through an exercise here on campus to look at our collegiate structures to see if they were adequate for what our aspirations were. And I wouldn't say it was a painless experience. Ozlem shaking her head there. But I will say that I think the outcomes were worth whatever pain we experienced through it. One of the things that came up during that, which probably I'll just reveal to the audience, was the most controversial. We have a College of Arts and Sciences here, which contains arts, humanities, social sciences, natural sciences, and math. And there was some question about whether that as a unit was too large, the conventional battleship turning and how large should a college be. And that created a lot of noise, I think, that I think distracted people. But also out of that noise came some ideas, and some of the ideas sort of floated around what Deb has been talking about: disruption, innovation, agility. And then Ozlem had already had experience with data science, right? Ozlem, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think John started hearing from Ozlem with the data science program, constantly knocking on his door and asking for resources. So the first example was the realization that data science actually belongs everywhere. And then we wanted to work together. And I was just joining UT, and all associate deans really came together with this new associate dean. That's the volunteer spirit on our campus. And we all agreed, let's do this together. And that was phenomenal right before COVID. And the discussions, we created a faculty group and an executive group. So within a year, 4 colleges emerged that they want to teach required courses, and then it will be available to everyone. We celebrated it. We were so happy. And then came the semester. Who's going to teach it? Who's responsible? Who'll find the instructors? Who's going to evaluate the instructors? That's when John and I got to know each other quite well. And then it was just not going to sustain itself. We were doing it on a volunteer basis between associate deans of the 4 colleges. So that really had a magnifying glass on if you want to do transdisciplinary programs, which we do, because Steve when we launched the Data 101 course, the first day the class got full. So that was obvious that students really want to experience such courses where they come together from different disciplines. So that was the eye-opener experience that we should do this. We cannot keep doing this the way ad hoc that we did data science.
I just want to jump in and say, Steve, that Ozlem deserves an enormous amount of credit for the conception of CECS, the overarching conception of CECS. I think that is mostly her. Maybe the impetus came from data science, and maybe partly some of that impetus also came from the reorg committee, but the actual structure of CECS really is Ozlem's brainchild.
Someone has to do that, Ozlem. It's an important role in any innovation, right? I think it's looking at the time. We've spent about half our time now. I would like to also. I'd be remiss if we didn't get you to kind of think about what it's all for and how it contributes to the entire university's strategic plan. Some of our prepared questions touch on partnerships, external partners, and other goods that can come for the state of Tennessee, the nation, the world, out of an innovation arising from a flagship land grant like UT Knoxville. How does this contribute to the power of the institution to make a difference in the world is at the same time that it's, benefiting its students and its faculty? I don't know who should tackle that one first. Good question.
Ozlem, you start.
So Steve, I'm glad you brought up because we didn't mention one of the biggest drivers of CECS, which is the industry partnership and realization that we really need to reimagine higher ed industry partnerships. That's why I actually from day one worked very closely with our Vice Chancellor for Research and started joining her team meetings and working with their economic development people because industry was the driver. We were hoping to look for years ahead, and now is getting shorter and shorter, right, with emerging technology. So you don't have to look 10 years anymore. You just are looking at 2 years barely. So we wanted to get that input from our industry partners, and our industry partners have been a strong support from the concept of CECS. They have flocked to each of our meetings. As a result, we have an annual meeting now. It has been doubling in size. We are asked to actually do this twice a year. So that synergy has been phenomenal because what we wanted to offer them is here's a blank slate for a future career that doesn't exist and a degree that doesn't exist. Let's make it work. That was really exciting for our partners. So that partnership is driving us because we don't just go after any degree. And like Deb mentioned, some of them will likely not work out as well as we intended. It's very hard to imagine the future. But this industry input has been very helpful. But interesting, I have to say, Steve, as we were looking to industry, what has happened is, especially with AI, we realized looking at us, what can we do with our processes? So it became actually a two-way street. It's a great partnership with a feedback loop. And we launched something that I didn't think we would launch so quickly, which is customized training for our industry partners. And we have one with major manufacturing company right now on AI. And I think that will also grow. And it really aligns so well with our land grant mission that you were asking about.
Yeah, and I can just jump in there. You can't go anywhere in Tennessee just now without bumping into someone from industry who says, oh, we love CECS. And they have that little Smoky trotting off to their side, just like you, Steve. It has been enormously successful with our industry partners and really helpful to help build our partnerships with industry around research as well. The symbiosis between sort of CECS and the research office just couldn't be better.
The only thing I'll add to that is that, for quite a long time, higher ed institutions have had connections with employers, and they would come and they would have career fairs. They have career fairs. We still have career fairs. They still do interviewing of students on campus. What's different about CECS and what Ozlem has done is this two-way street, is the fact that we're not looking to employers solely for, although importantly for, hiring our graduates, but also to learning how we can be responsive to some of their needs. Now, I know that runs the risk of saying, oh, you're turning a higher education institution into a vocational training school, but that's not it at all. I mean, really, it's about the sort of entire portfolio of skills. And I love what Ozlem said earlier about the philosophy major who wants to think about the ethical use of AI, or the ecology major who's interested in issues of power and sustainability and data centers. And so there's just so much opportunity for thinking about actual important and pressing issues that we as a society face today. And I don't see how we do that without the kinds of contacts that Ozlem has really sort of nurtured with industry.
I'm in danger with all my propaganda here of undermining my credibility. Maybe we could address skeptics in our audience who are looking for some hard facts about, hey, how do we know this model is really working for the university, for the state, and all the constituents? I know it's a little unfair to put you on the spot. It's only been up and running for 3 years, but what are the indicators that are, in addition to the popularity and the visibility of CECS throughout the state and among important constituents, what are you seeing that's encouraging you to plan ahead and further invest in this innovation?
John, you want to take this one?
Okay,
Because
I'll start, but I'm gonna need to phone a friend at some point and ask for you to come all in behind me. So, one indicator, obviously, and Ozlem has already mentioned this, is student interest. The fact that students are flocking to the courses that CECS is offering. Ozlem, at some point, you may want to talk about Data 101, AI 101, Applied AI, Applied Cyber, because I think that it would be helpful for our audience to know about the way your curriculum is structured. And so what we're seeing is a great deal of interest in these areas. What's key to me is that both our cyber and AI have the applied label attached to them. And Ozlem, I would love to hear you say a word or two about that, because these are degrees that are not meant for the computer scientists and the electrical engineers who are actually going to develop the systems themselves. I think I'm saying that properly, but correct me if I'm wrong. And so the sort of eagerness with which this is being embraced, and I don't know, as long as our stakeholders are continuing to say, wow, CECS, we love it, as Deb said, that to me is a really strong indicator. We don't get that response for all of the majors that we offer at the university. That may come as a surprise to you, Steve, but it's actually true. And so the popular response, the fact that we're showing that this receptivity to learning from others outside of our collegiate walls, and the interest of the students. Ozlem, your turn.
Okay, yeah, thank you, John, for the reminder. So, Steve, I'm an engineer, and I left engineering with this dream to really make an impact in higher ed, which I truly believe in, especially our land grant mission. So the way I see it, Steve, is that the emerging tech is changing very rapidly. It's becoming more and more accessible, easier to tap into. It's at our fingertips. And I think it's becoming a world of the future where creativity and entrepreneurship will be the mainstream. You will have, if you want to have something rewarding as a career, you'll have to be able to think along those lines. And conventionally, those had been limited to STEM fields, but I see a flip, frankly. that now all the applied concept, when these tools are so available to the domain experts, and if they can overcome their fear and get together and start thinking about these, there's potential, enormous potential for creativity and applications and launch of new careers. So we could take an engineer to train them in medical field, but if I have a medical person and who is eager and willing, and it doesn't take as long anymore to get the hang of these tools. You just have to be curious, overcome your fear, and that's what CECS is trying to do. Encourage curiosity, encourage exploration, because it is not okay for an 18-year-old to know exactly what they want to do. I don't even know what I want to do in 4 years. So normalize that on campus. You are on the perfect path by exploring. So that ties to the 101 level courses we created. And actually, that is probably, in my mind, a future gen ed approach where we are infusing these skill sets in courses, and all of our 101 exploratory courses satisfy our general education requirements, and they absolutely have no prerequisite to enter. So here we are with Data 101, Applied AI 101, and Applied Cyber 101, bringing all students, and that includes engineers too, because what we want engineers to see is there are applications. It's not only how efficient, how fast, or how cheap, or how inexpensive, forgive me, the product is, but how ethical, how humans will interact with it. So it's training engineers in that sense. And then a philosopher is sitting next to this engineer, and a business major next to the philosopher. So that's the concept in these 101 level courses. Encourage curiosity, trigger creativity, and then hopefully when they go to their domains, start thinking, I can do this and really improve the patient care efficiency in my hospital because there are AI tools and I have all the data. So that's our ultimate goal.
From the point of view of a vice chancellor for research, Deb, what's the indices for success for you?
Well, we're always thinking about sponsor projects.
Yeah.
And so certainly CECS has been very engaged in our sponsor project enterprise. CECS is really a very powerful tool in our toolbox when it comes to graduate education initiatives, but also the research initiatives that we do. Oftentimes we're doing research across disciplines. We're asked, how is that affecting education in your institution or across institutions? And CECS becomes the delivery vehicle for that academic innovation process. So, I look very much to Ozlem for the innovation in our academic programs and very much to the organizational model that she's created. But I completely agree with John's comment earlier. Like, to launch a college like this, you need a very passionate leader who is very persistent in the delivery of the programs, because it is not an easy path to be a disruptive innovator. And so it takes a lot of chutzpah, right, to keep going. And it takes the ability to communicate with the faculty to say, hey, come and join me, right? You have something really important to contribute to these programs as a faculty member, and I would love for you to come and work with us for 1 or 2 or 3 years. So, I think I see CECS as a really powerful tool for our research enterprise in ways that I think become really obvious when you're working with a partner like Ozlem, who's willing to kind of lean in and try a lot of different new things.
Well, I think we should transition now to questions from our audience. And one that just was posted in the chat is from a UT Vet Med faculty member who just echoing you, Deb, and what he's seen from his experience working with CECS. And I'll just pluck one out of there as a transitional question, and it's probably best to you, Ozlem. It's about the student experience. Folks are wondering, well, what's it like to be a CECS student, in addition to the required courses or the available courses, this, that, and the other? Like, what's it like day to day?
So the way I see it, CECS serves all UT. So CECS is really for all UT students because our objective is enable all disciplines to get exposure to these emerging skill sets. However, there's always the misfits. That there's always those who want to come and exactly, craft their own degree, and that number has been faster than I thought, growing faster. I think we are now up to 200 majors who are coming to CECS. They have the opportunity to actually, with guardrails between our advisors and industry members, so they're not always playing, but they are crafting their own degree. They could come and get an applied AI degree. As John was referring to, means you have to think, what are you applying it for? What is your passion? So every CECS student starts with CECS 101, design your career, design your degree. We do assessment of their interests, passions, skills. We enable them to interact with industry. So we say, okay, your passion is in healthcare, but you don't want to deal with sick people. Okay, so we're going to get you to product design because you like tools, you like building devices. Yeah. So we work with them from semester 1 till they graduate, and through that time, they're interacting with the right industry partners and hopefully gainful careers, employment and rewarding careers.
What doctors who don't like blood? We've seen it. We know. We have a question from Keith Renshaw, our colleague at George Mason University. Hey, Keith. We can hear you. You're on mute. Still on mute.
Okay, there. Now you got
me.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. My Zoom restarted, and so it changed my mic. Thanks for taking. I'm just curious, and we don't have to go too far into this because I could also follow up offline. But I'm curious about some of the practical aspects, right? So, John, you mentioned it's you got an RCM model. Does CECS operate within that same RCM model? Is there revenue coming from student credit hours generated, and then they're using that to then pay the faculty, sort of buyout pieces? Is there a separate model where they're kind of, funded centrally? Do you sort of set up an informal agreement with a program if they're starting something new where it's like, hey, after 3 years, if this is going well, we're going to give it over to you guys to split? Or so I'm just sort of curious about how some of those logistics work.
Yeah, it's a great question, Keith. CECS is within the RCM model, but it's a startup, and we're treating it as a startup. So as a startup, our RCM model, anyway, it has I don't know if this is usual or unusual, has the aspect of revenue is allocated based on enrollments 2 years in arrears. And so CECS is just beginning to produce revenue because it wasn't existing until, according to the model, until very recently. So right now it receives subvention, but from a pool of funds that the model creates for subvention. It's not the only college that receives convention. The other 2 colleges that were startups also receive subvention. And there are a few other colleges that you wouldn't necessarily expect to be able to pay for all of the operating expenses and all of the taxes. So there's that aspect. I was looking the other day at some data, and Ozlem, you're growing like a weed. And I expect to see sort of, I have seen positive revenue growth, and I fully expect to see revenue growth continue in that upward trend. I guess the other thing I would say is that right now, I've encouraged Ozlem to be one among equals among the deans and to work out her deals with the deans one by one. Ozlem, do you want to talk about things like MOUs or how you get faculty to work for you from other colleges?
And that is definitely an evolving process that we are trying to perfect, because when we launched, imagine, Steve, 0 square foot, 0 faculty, 0 degrees, 0 students. And the next year we had 8 certificates, 4 degree programs. So it was kind of a build the plane while we are flying it. So we do buyouts. Typically that happens by natural selection. Faculty are already excited. They come find us. They start joining our monthly meetings. And then if we choose, typically what we do is, this is a shared governance model across campus. CECS faculty, we have a few non-tenure track. We do not vote. It's the campus faculty. It's the ad hoc department on applied AI on campus. It has representation from all colleges. Anyone is welcome to these monthly meetings. So once we start speeding things up, we are sensing there's employment opportunity, there's enough expertise, that the natural leaders we start observing them, and we reach out to their deans and department heads to say, we would like to buy them out for 1 course, 2 course. Some of them we have bought out for the entire year as a full time. So depending on what we need to be done and their expertise level. So the challenge is, we've been doing this on a MOU by MOU basis. And it was fine when we had a handful of students and a handful of maybe courses to offer. But now our AI 101, Data 101, we have to offer multiple sections. So it needs a sustainable model that I'm asking or discussing with our leadership to say, what is the efficient without using the lean and agile mode of operation and without disrupting other colleges, obviously, because they do rely on these faculty too. So what are like long-term arrangements? So we all go into with eyes open that this is what we expect. This faculty will teach so many courses in CECS going forward in 2 years. So we will have to look at that, but it's all with the deans. So collaboration is in our name, and we wouldn't have gone anywhere without all these faculty from 7 to 9 departments and all colleges helping us, and all the deans, no matter how nervous they were, some of them, especially having stepped into the RCM model, they still work with us. So it wouldn't have happened without that volunteer spirit on our campus.
I think one other thing I'll add quickly about moving programs from CECS, it's too early to sort of really comment definitively on that, but just this past couple of months, our Department of Plant Sciences launched proposed a baccalaureate degree in bioinformatics, and CECS had a bioinformatics certificate, and that certificate moved over to that department out of CECS because we thought it would be best to have like paired with like in that particular area. And so Ozlem was, that was pretty painless, I think, Ozlem. So
yeah,
it does
absolutely.
happen. That doesn't mean it'll always be painless, but it does happen.
You know, I'm guessing one thing that should just be acknowledged, and I'm speculating here, but in addition to a visionary and a hardworking leader for an innovation like this, it helps to have senior leaders, provost, chancellor, boards, vice chancellors, and the like, right? All supportive and backing that innovative leader who's on the front lines. Would you speak to that a little bit? Like, what's the politics behind all this that gets behind you, Ozlem? Yeah.
I couldn't have done it without John believing in me and letting me on this phenomenal journey, and our Vice Chancellor of Research seeing the vision and going fully in, and our bold leaders, the Chancellor and our President. They are entrepreneurial thinkers, and without all their support and without the grassroots faculty and student support, this would be another idea on a paper in a shelf, I guess, in a higher ed reserve room. So absolutely, that was absolutely necessary.
I think it's worth acknowledging. It's a leadership team effort that can make something like this happen. John, is that your point of view too?
Yeah, I mean, we have a chancellor here for the campus. We have president of the system. We're a member of the University of Tennessee system. President isn't that involved in the day-to-day operations of the campus. But I do want to point out something that Ozlem says. From time to time, he will speak at our commencements. He likes to do that. And invariably, he gives the advice to the students. And his first bit of advice is go out and fail. And that's kind of what Deb had said earlier, that, you can't expect everything to succeed. And it's that willingness to take risk, I think, that really characterizes our president, and even more so our chancellor. I mean, our chancellor is not one to sort of, I don't know, sort of sit back and let things happen. Uh, uh, she is engaged in making the campus a better place for people to learn, a better place for discovery, a better place for working with our communities, engaging with our communities. So I do think having the very tippy top leadership sort of willing to take risks has made all the difference. And we're seeing some of that in research too, right, Deb?
Yes.
They're not involved in that, are they? Oh my God. Well, I was going to say we're kind of coming toward the end of our time. I have a final question, but I'd love to grab one from the audience if someone would like to jump in, like Keith did. Is there a hand about to go up? Or would you just unmute and offer a question? I think we've done a pretty good job touching a lot of issues. Obviously, this is a really complicated effort. Oh, thanks. Hillary, please jump in. Thank you. Hillary Crucknow, our board president and chair from the University of Nevada.
Thanks to all of you. I've been very excited and looking forward to this town hall for a while now, and I'm grateful for all of your time. I just want to express enthusiasm over, as somebody who is humanist, post-humanist, all of the things, right? Not, but also believes deeply in the power of data. This really feels to me like entrepreneurship and cross-disciplinary in the best ways, and that my hope is that what industry is reacting to is the creativity, the ability to work with what's at hand, the ability to be flexible and innovative in the best ways. I know a lot of us get concerned about, well, we're serving industry needs, but we're really, we are, as Vice Chancellor Crawford said, pushing the boundaries of knowledge. And that is what is important here too. Like, this is an epistemological breakthrough, and I'm so grateful for the hard work that you have put into this. This is fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
Hillary, thank you for offering that perspective. I'm sure it's widely shared. And David, please jump in from Clemson.
Yeah, David Vaughn with Clemson University, run a program called Clemson Engineers for Developing Communities, do a lot of engagement internationally and also in the state of South Carolina. I understand you guys are actually a land-grant university. I'm wondering, not only are you helping students build skills for the future and getting those jobs and also working with industry, how does this program also have the ability to actually engage with what I refer to as lower capacity communities and helping them rise?
David, I can give an example. Our structure actually enables us to seek some recent grants that have become increasingly available, as our Vice Chancellor mentioned, through the state and recently through the federal level as well. One example is within our first year, actually, Tennessee Higher Education Commission put out a solicitation, which our Vice Chancellor forwarded to me, and we immediately applied. That was about rural health and creating pathways for access for rural health, because it's a big problem for Tennessee especially. And we got a $2 million grant in partnership with our Graduate School of Medicine. We've been working with them on creating, we had already been working with them to create accessible medical degree program, realizing that a lot of the students who can get in typically have a gap year, and during that gap year, they have access to some hospitals, research, because they have family connections or personal connections. So we wanted to short circuit that and say, we want to give this opportunity to all students. So we launched an actual certificate program in CECS where students can come, and 12 credits will be all based on their work in the hospital. So they will all have access to it. They don't need to have connections. So we leverage that, and now THEC is supporting us to work with community colleges and K-12, along with industry partners. So we'll start from K-12 and then enable them exit and entry pathways. So not all of them will be doctors, as we know, but in the end, if they choose not to, and then they will maybe have a skill set where they can use AI in healthcare. So they will have pathways to get degrees, even if they don't go to medical school, employable skill sets, since health is their passion for a career.
Beautiful answer. Thank you.
You know, I won't pose my final question. We don't have time, and it's kind of answered anyway. I was going to ask if, you know, after it's all said and done, what would you do differently? But given President Boyd's admonition, you know, to the students, failures are necessary. So there's got to be some wrong steps to get to this great place. So we already know the answer. Nothing, you'd have done it just the way you did it. Had a few bumps in the road, and it all worked out just great. Listen, on behalf of all our colleagues in UERU and those beyond who will hear this recording, we're just grateful to Provost, to the Vice Chancellor, to the Dean, all their colleagues at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville for their support of this very, very innovative and highly, you know, exciting and just a breath of fresh air in higher education. We're so grateful for you to take some time to share it with the nation and beyond. Thanks to everyone for joining today. Look for this town hall, which will be posted at ueru.org as per usual. Many thanks again, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.